back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
It may not feel like it, but planting season is on its way, and now's the time to upgrade your equipment with a late model John Deere planter from Acres Equipment. Acres has an entire lineup of John Deere planters equipped with the latest technology to ensure planting accuracy throughout your field. And to get you up and going, each planter purchased from Acres includes in-field startup support from one of our Precision Ag professionals. Warmer weather is coming soon, so don't delay. Visit your local Acres for details. Offer expires April 30th, 2025.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease.
Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown! 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
Demorne Pierson-El.
Only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome into Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got the host. Good morning, Pierson-El, streaming in. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685. As always, you can put a face to the voice using the streams, X, Facebook, YouTube, Allo, Channel 961 if you got Allo Cable. Good morning, Pierson-El. How's it going on a pretty nice Tuesday night here in Lincoln, Nebraska?
Enjoying the weather, you know.
Got yourself muted there, DP.
It should be off. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
It was off, but enjoying the weather. You know, it's a nice, lovely Tuesday. Just taking a stroll.
Yeah, and apologies, that was on me. That was you. Was trying to figure out the audio here. You know, it's fantastic, and for many reasons. We'll talk about the reasons why I'm really excited. You already know about it. We'll talk a little bit about your squad as well in terms of the NFL. But let's quick. I haven't talked to you about it. I don't want to spend the entire hour on it. Probably less time on it, the better. But Nebraska hoops.
Disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just kind of broad picture this stuff. Fred Hoiberg, where are you at with him?
There's promise that's still there. Like I said, his seat's not hot. It's not warm because he showed potential, but you got to reload with some people and whatnot. So I'm not angry with him. It's not all necessarily him. Again, he can't play for kids, so athletes have to step up. You're a Division I basketball player, and if you look at some of their statistics as a team, certain people, they didn't do their part. And he can only do so much. He had you in games, you had tight, close games, and you just didn't do what you needed to do to close the door.
Yeah, that was just a tough one from Iowa. It's some ways to tip your cap, and other ways you can be upset about it. But they shot the ball really well from three. You knew what that was going to do, though. Their entire game plan is let's take as many shots as possible because we don't really like playing defense. And we had a day where Bryce Williams had that once in a blue moon game where it's not like he was bad, but he wasn't dropping 30. We just kind of got accustomed to this guy being an absolute machine. Juwan Gary showed up for certain. Some other guys had some decent games, but just wasn't enough. You just don't, at the same time, you don't ever want to be in that situation to where you're hanging on to that last regular season game. I mean, you started the season out 12-2. And now you ended the season with only 17 wins.
Big Ten play was horrible. Like you saying 17 wins, but when you look at that Big Ten record, it's just like how was that? Your record doesn't look like what your conference record is, and it's all bad. It's just things just fell apart at the end.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, what is it? A 7-13 conference record is the number. Like that's just, I get it's a tough conference, but you
were in games.
Have to be elite in the Big Ten to actually make the dance. So it's not even like I'm asking for the moon here. Like you really just need to be in that middle, and you're pretty much in if you schedule enough of those good opponents on your roster. But the Big Ten, you're going to run into enough of them. If you take care of business, you're in. Unfortunately for Nebraska, we just lost to teams like Penn State, teams like Minnesota, teams like Iowa at the end of the year. Rutgers, yeah. I mean, name the bottom feeders. We took a loss to them. We did.
You need 7 people to consistently show up to at least get you over the edge, and we consistently did not have that. We'd be lucky enough if we had 4, and Bryce counts as 2, so
you need 2 more. That's that point.
Again, like I said, it's just underwhelming. Like I said, I'm not all putting it on the coach. Like I said, he can't suit up and go out there. So, like I said, I'm not at any issues or anything like that really with him. It's just, athletes have to show up.
Yeah. And at some point in the day, it's, I'm definitely in the camp of like, just because our expectations have rose doesn't mean we chase the guy out of the building who's the reason our expectations have rose. Like, let's just take a breath. It definitely sucks. Might be, what is it? The Royal Crown, the college basketball crown in Vegas. Like they might get some postseason play. I'll put up with people saying like, who cares? It's something. All right. It's something to go at least play for. And you're not just sitting at home. When there's been years we literally sat at home because nobody wanted to touch this program because it's like, who the hell's going to go watch these guys who put them in any sort of postseason play? So, and shout out Bryce Williams. He did make first team all Big Ten. I don't believe no other Huskers made the second team or all defensive team, but Bryce Williams did, rightfully so. Plenty deserving. Coaches and media poll both had him in there. I don't think there's any argument. Everybody in the Big Ten would agree. And you saw that, even at the end of that Iowa game, Juwan Gary and Bryce Williams, they got a ton of respect from those Hawkeyes, which, tip of the cap. I'm not sure what they would have got the same respect if they would have lost the game, but I'll take it where it is. Mm-hmm. The problem for Nebraska is we're losing a lot of guys. And I think we're on the same page with Hoiberg. So the question is with Hoiberg is like, what does he got to bring in? Returning for this year, we're going to have Justin Bullis, Henry Burt, Berke Bear-Uchtengel. Bear-Uchtengel's actually got 2 years left. Connor Seaton, Connor Seaton's got 1 year left. Jeff Grace III, he's got 1 year left. Gavin Griffiths has got 2. Sam Hoiberg 1. Cale Jacobson 2. And Rink Mast, obviously, he's going to have 1 back as well. Incoming is we just got Quentin Rhymes, and then outgoing is obviously going to be Juwan Gary, Braxton Mia, Andrew Morgan, Aaron Eulis, Bryce Williams, Riley Wooster. So that's 5 guys right there.
That's a whole new roster.
Yeah, outside of Aaron Eulis, all of those guys got pretty significant minutes, and even Aaron Eulis towards the end there was getting more. Not so much in the middle, a little bit at the beginning, more at the end. But I mean, we're losing a lot of minutes just right there. So if we're on the same page with Hoiberg, what does he need to bring in at this point?
Veteran players that I don't care if they were, FCS or, different divisions. You need to bring in, I don't want to say elite athletes, but you need to bring in consistent athletes. Scores, well-rounded guys that are hungry, guys that can, get in there and kind of, be consistently top from, bottom up to top down throughout the roster.
Yeah, that's just a lot of college basketball. We use the Auburn example all the time because it's just crazy. 23-year-old average age on a college basketball team. You should be good, and they are good. So at least, they're playing like they should. A bunch of, at that point, 23, you're getting close to being a grown man, and they're playing really good basketball. Nebraska, defensively, they're losing a lot in Juwan Gary and Bryce Williams. Both of those guys are, especially Bryce. When Bryce really wanted to, he was great. Juwan Gary, everybody knew. This guy is one of the better defenders in the Big Ten. I thought, he might not have a chance to be a defensive team. I just think statistically didn't probably have the numbers for it in terms of steals and forcing turnovers. But the offense is always going to be the problem because now we're losing a decent amount on defense, which has kind of been our bread and butter. Offensively, though, was already the problem the entire season. So you got to make sure the defense doesn't get too far lost, but you also got to figure out how do we get this offense going. Do you almost have to change philosophy-wise? Because what they did with Rink Mast and Derek Walker was that there was a lot of playmaking coming out of that 4/5, depending on who was all out there on the court together. But a lot of the playmaking wasn't ever coming from the point guard. And I know that's something that we've always wanted, but a lot of it was just going through that 5. And it worked really well with Walker, and it worked really well with Rink Mast. We do get Rink Mast back. But is that, in particular, looking at this year, I don't know if they thought Berke Beruktingel could have been that guy, but it seems like they just were looking for that playmaking big, and they did not have it all year long. Is that something where we trust Rink Mast and we kind of keep the same style that failed us this year? Mainly because I just think we got a little.
I don't think the style was the issue. I think, again, it goes to dudes not showing up. The big guy was hurt. He was kind of on a road and got hurt and kind of lost his mojo. Mm-hmm. So you can't really put that all on him. With what's his name coming back from being hurt? I can't. Mass with him coming back from being hurt. That playmaking ability should open up. He's a streaky shooter. That's going to be a lot of shot creating. Hopefully, Connor can step up and be more consistent. I think you bring in other pieces that complement kind of what you have in that and build off of that. I'm not saying, another Bryce Williams, but we've seen he's hit on, consistent scores, whether if that's the guy, the freshman that left, just imagine if he would have been here, matched up with Tamanaga, matched up, with Bryce. He left early, he's 23 probably, or 20, 21, 22 going on in the league. I think he was now in the G League, but he's still, getting quality buckets and whatnot. So he has an eye for, at least, a talented scorer or a talented guy to base the offense around. And I know it's not so well to have multiple of those guys because guys are gonna be unhappy with not having the ball in those hands. But you need complementary players that kind of can feed off of that, create energy. Like I said, you got Mass coming back. He can kind of space the floor out a little bit with his outside shooting, mid range, and everything like that, and attacking the basket or just setting his stuff up. I think with him coming back, you'll have the big guy that will have a lot more creativity to kind of just go to the board and kind of get more comfortable with he does. Year 2 in the system of him having a better understanding, along with better pieces that gel, that kind of get things going out from the outside in, not necessarily, inside out. We don't have to be 3 crazy, but you have to go and get guys that are confident, that can attack the basket, that create their own shot, and doesn't have to, necessarily have things set up or have the perfect, set to get an easy bucket or to get, a good look at a bucket.
Yeah. And that's where we're also just going to figure out, like, he is going to get some guys in the portal. He's been very clear about
he
it's
needs
going to
to
be a busy off season, and he's very well aware of the guys that are leaving. He also had some statements saying that, his goal is to make this a consistent tournament team in his conferences. And he's obviously pretty disgruntled by how this one turned out. When it comes to that, what is success here at the University of Nebraska in the next 3 years? Just this next 3 years, what does success look like?
Hopefully a deep run in all 3 years, hopefully a deep run in the Big Ten tournament. Hopefully 2 out of the 3, at least, consistently back-to-back, if not back-to-back, tournament invitations. I think that would be a consistent showing growth and everything like that. You took steps this year. This year is not all bad or anything like that. Again, you statistically, for what stuff was and how close you kept things. Like I said, I don't think they really got blown out, or there wasn't too many games where they got dominated. They were in games or whatnot just late in the season. Again, you had a meltdown and dudes wasn't hitting shots, dudes wasn't playing consistent, and things just didn't turn over in your favor. Superman couldn't save everybody this go around. I mean, he was putting up 30 and 30, and it still wasn't good enough. And again, like I said, when you got multiple guys not at least getting 10 to 12 points, we find ourselves in those situations.
Yeah, Superman was damn close, though. I'll tell you
He
was really close.
He was.
Certainly improved his draft stock. So, again, shout out to Bryce Williams, all Big Ten first team. And, of course, all the other seniors, especially the ones that have been here for a long time, like Jawan Gary.
For sure.
Because that guy.
He had a heck of a season, too. He was, I would say, outside of Bryce, he would be probably the next person that I would say would be most, consistent. So, was never, speaking on him or whatnot. Connor was a streaky shooter. You coming back home. You don't always have to, shoot the 3, easy bucket. Ray Allen, for instance, he wasn't, always necessarily in rhythm. If he wasn't, he would take a step in, easy to get you there too. So, but that's just what we're in today. Everybody wants to live and die by the 3. Big mans wants to live and die by the 3. And, it's kind of messing up the flow of the games at times.
Yeah, what always drives me nuts about, when I see players living and dying by the 3 is like when you go watch a guy like JJ Redick, you go watch a guy like Steph Curry, you even go watch a guy like Keisei Tominaga. They didn't just shoot 3s every time, especially if they went 0 for 3. They figure out some ways to get a floater up. Keisei was really good, and I think, we remember him for the 3s, but if you just go back and watch his tape, I mean, he was killing the trees down on the block, and he was just constantly killing people who wanted to press up on him with backdoor cuts. You got to counter eventually if it's just not going your way or they're totally locked in on stopping you, because for Esijan, I think that was a problem. Like, really good start to the year. Later on, they're like, okay, we know this guy isn't comfortable running this way for the catch and shoot. We know that these are his hot spots. Here's his cold spots. Where can we force him? And it got to a point where he wasn't countering what they were forcing him to do. And it led to just some really rough stretches. Now, I do think a good coaching offseason, he can definitely get that tuned up. I think the biggest thing for him is just figure out ways to take advantage of what they're trying to do to you. Keisei was incredible at it. Rink Mast was incredible at it. And again, that's why I think those 2 guys, when we lost them,
it hurt.
He's big time. And that's why we only had 17 wins this year, despite the great start. That veteran leadership and just that ability to counter the scouting report on yourself is what really wins you games when you get to that second half of the season, and especially when you get to conference play. Because at that point, I mean, you get 12, 15 games in, everybody knows what you're trying to do anymore. Yeah, you can put a few wrinkles in it, but you're not going to put in a new system. Even as Hoiberg pointed out later in the year, it's like, this is what we have. We have to figure it out. All that to say, though, I'm still on the boat with Fred Hoiberg. I'm nowhere in the camp of saying we need to move on because he has risen expectations.
For sure.
Frustrated. I'm not saying we should all clap our hands and say, well, it was a good run this year. But, let's take a breather. Most wins in his first 6 years out of any coach. And again, that's with the roster of the COVID year. That's with the roster where they brought in the freaking offensive tackle, Brant Banks, on the squad, another Husker football player. That's all involved in that. So I'm just going to give it some time and wait to see which players actually come in, because that's going to be important. Which transfers do we get? The only question I do have is there isn't really set out expectations for Nebraska basketball. Like, the fans certainly have them. The vault's cool. But we never actually hear the athletic director be super open about what the goals are. Football, it's another story. Everybody knows.
Volleyball is another story.
Yeah. But
Baseball is
basketball,
another story. It's another story.
At some point, like, is this an organization failure, or is it just no? We just constantly haven't been getting the right players or the right coaches. Because sometimes I do think you have to look at the entire organization behind it, especially today when NIL is a big part of it. And there's 5 guys on the start. You spend the right amount of money, you can find some really good players, and just getting 2 really good players in that starting 5 does a lot of damage.
I think it's just hitting on players because, like I said, they were in games. You go out and get the right type of talent, and or the certain kids feel like that they can come here and thrive in the system and everything like that. Probably 5 to 8 of those games go the opposite way. So I think he's on the right track. Each year he's consistently improved what things were, and like the year before or last year's problems necessarily weren't this year's problems. If they would have been more consistent as like last year's team, or if you had more depth to where people just consistently did their jobs, I think they would have shattered easily what their win total was last year.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because the depth, a lot of the times this year, it just felt like Fred Hoiberg was looking down the bench, looking for an answer, and he's like, ain't really got one on the bench. And again, that's the part where I'm like, you can give criticism for that. But in terms of the X's and O's, like, we're going to be hard pressed to find another guy unless you get like a great head coach that's just dropped out of nowhere, which can happen. But even then, I'm still want to hold on to what we have in Hoiberg.
For sure.
He's a guy who generally wants to make this work. You don't pick the school of Nebraska basketball after coaching in the NBA and after coaching an elite program at Iowa State. You don't pick Nebraska basketball because you think this is the best opportunity I have to win as many games as possible to get myself set up for another NBA head coaching job. Like, I think, and that's just me reading it. I don't know, but it feels like he has a very strong tie to this place for obvious reasons with his connections. And when you have that, I mean, that's just a good thing, knowing that you have a guy that's not necessarily looking over the fence already, especially when things get a little bit choppy. Real quick here, I do want to shout out some positives, though. Husker Wrestling got a couple Big Ten champs. Lovett and Hardy, they win. First duo in 11 years to bring home multiple champions for the Big Red. Last time that was done was 2014. It was James Green and Kokesh, if I'm saying that last name right. And they're also sending 7 others to qualify for nationals. Caleb Smith, Jacob Van D, Antrell Taylor, Christopher Minto, Lenny Pinto, Silas Alred, and Camden McDaniel. That's a pretty good group right there.
Shout out to y'all. Congratulations.
Yeah. Penn State did go out and win the
Penn State wrestling is different.
Yeah, that's 3 years in a row.
Different. It's just different.
We did get number 2, though. Iowa got number 3. Best part is, though, Iowa, not a single champion for those guys, which is pretty unique. Usually Iowa's pretty solid in wrestling as well, but it's good to see Nebraska. I mean, it's just been a really good year for these guys. We're going to have multiple guys out there being able to compete nationally for it. So again, shout out to the wrestling program. We just had Takedown Tuesday with Mark Manning. Might be one of the most underappreciated coaches here at the University of Nebraska. I'd put him on that ballot. Let me just ask you that. Give me the most underappreciated coaches here at the University of Nebraska. You can even throw out an assistant coach. I might not know him, but
underappreciated coach? Ooh.
I think Mark Manning might deserve that because of what he's done consistently in this wrestling program.
Who's the softball coach?
I want to say Amy Williams. That's not, that's not Amy Williams. That's the basketball coach.
I think the softball program has consistently been solid. In the past couple of years, they won the Big Ten championship. So I don't think
Rhonda Revelle, by the way. So we can give her flowers.
Yeah, so I would probably say her.
That's a good one. That might change though with the Jordy Ball hype. She's probably getting like more flowers than ever. Now everyone's like, this program is pretty solid. I'd like to go that one. I just
don't feel like they get talked about enough. We talk about baseball a lot. Baseball gets a lot of love. Is not to say that softball doesn't, but I feel like I just consistently see them somewhere, and I'm not constantly just scouring for Husker softball, but I like for whatever reason it's just always it always pops up, and I always see it, whether that's ex alumni posting something or saying something. Like I just feel like they've always are on the right track, or always doing something, positive.
This one, I'll throw this final one out there, and then we'll go to break here. Announcer from text line 4424 talking about Rink Mass. We would win that Michigan game at the end of the season. Yeah, I agree with you. Rink Mass, but that's a game where he really would probably thrive in that one. But talking about underappreciated coaches, he might actually get the flowers he deserves because it is such a niche sport, and he is just super well known with
the bowling coach,
Coach Klempa. That is a program that he runs there year in, year out. Ever since they have not missed postseason play at all.
That's a good one. I'll give you that one. That's a real good one. Perfect,
because he's got a couple bowlers. After your show, you got Jillian, or not Jillian, they went yesterday. But they do have, just since we're on, Jillian Martin. They got some insane bowlers. Apparently, Jillian Martin.
They have a lineage of it. a lineage, like they've been good for a while, like dominant, and it ain't close.
No, it's not. It's truly an unreal run, and the fact that they're just not even in a conference, they just show up and wreak havoc. It's like, we got Nebraska coming in here. So it not only is it impressive because they're not in a conference, like postseason play is a lot harder for them to get into. They have to get that 1, 2, 3, or 4 seed. There's other ways they can get in, but those conferences are going to take those bids. So they got to be bowling at a high level. And it's like year in, year out. They continue to do so. So wanted to bring that up here because I saw that wrestlers, shout out Coach Manning, shout out Coach Klempa. And then, as you said, Rhonda Revelle as well in that softball program, who looks like they're actually turning around. They're having a pretty good start to the year so far. So we'll throw it to break here. We're going to talk NFL free agency on the other side. My Chicago Bears have been busy. So have your Raiders. So we'll talk about that next. Don't go anywhere. Don't punt hour. Talk to you on the other side.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197. When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies, and it will be breezy with an afternoon high around 59. Tonight, increasing cloud cover and light winds, below around 36. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies with calm winds and an afternoon high around 71. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It may not feel like it, but planting season is on its way, and now's the time to upgrade your equipment with a late model John Deere planter from Acres Equipment. Acres has an entire lineup of John Deere planters equipped with the latest technology to ensure planting accuracy throughout your field. And to get you up and going, each planter purchased from Acres includes in-field startup support from one of our Precision Ag professionals. Warmer weather is coming soon, so don't delay. Visit your local Acres for details. Offer expires April 30th, 2025.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Picture this. You're in the doghouse and flowers just won't cut it this time. Enter jewelry, the ultimate peace offering. It's a gesture that speaks volumes, showing her you're willing to go the extra mile to make things right. So next time you're in the doghouse, remember, diamonds are a guy's best friend too. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play it against sports at 48th and Vine. Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Lincoln's newest restaurant isn't just a typical sports bar. It's the sports bar for so many reasons. Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill in South Lincoln has 23 beers on tap and 36 TVs featuring all things sports from MLB to soccer to golf and more, and football, of course, in the fall. Stop by for their grand opening this Friday, March 14th, and enjoy great food and drink selection at Lincoln's newest go-to, Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill at 27th and Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Second segment, Don't Punt Hour. You guys are always welcome to join in. Talking some NFL free agency here. 402-464-5685. I'll let you pick here. You want to talk about the offseason champs once again, or do you want to talk about your Raiders?
Off-season champs?
I mean, might as well hang up the banners. It's the only ones we've gotten in recent years. Like, he wants to be real here. Last year, how hyped was everybody about the Bears off-season? Very excited. Didn't really pan out. I'm just saying what it is. The Bears, until it plays on paper, I'm going to be happy because then on my eyes, just what they've done, they're killing it. Unless you beg to differ.
I wouldn't say no off-season champs is not even over yet. Just because you had a good, strong 2 days doesn't mean, it's over. Washington still has some good signings that you got to be careful and watch out for. Some other teams have done some things. The Rams got revamped with Devontae Adams. So don't act like, y'all started strong. We're going to see how y'all finish.
Yeah, I mean, well, how much money do we got left is the problem. we might be done. And if we're done, it's okay with it. We'll probably make a little bit more moves here. I think the real question for the Bears is what are you going to do with that 10th pick? As Chingenti or best player available, you lock in on really solidifying that offensive line, which I might be more of a fan of that. Or do you trade down?
I would say you have. If you look at a lot of these teams, they have, their franchise quarterback, they got a franchise left tackle or somebody, on that blind side. If you look at the Raiders, it's Colt Miller. If you look at the Chargers, they got Joe Alt. I mean, they got two, Slater and Alt. So if you look at the Buccaneers, they have Tristan Wirfs. So I would go left tackle just because you can never miss with winning in the trenches. If you solidify, the quarterback's blind side, you can always build off of that. So I would definitely go tackle. You have I don't think Swift is a terrible running back. I think he has a lot of tools that Gibbs and Montgomery has together combined. And with, your head coach and how he calls plays and whatnot, I think you can definitely see him getting, the ball in space a lot more often if that screen plays, coming out of the backfield. you can kind of see an uptick of Alvin Kamara-like season with this revamped offensive line from the that y'all have.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. There's a lot of people saying Genty, and even when you look at the mock drafts, I don't think they're going to go with Genty. I'm totally 100% with you. Like, do everything you can to make that offensive. Like, if your polls, make that a strength of your team for the next 5 years to come.
And either that or I wouldn't be shocked if you go, receiver. To me personally, I'm not as high on Rome. We'll see. But for whatever reason, I don't know. We'll see. But I think offensive line probably is the better answer to that.
Yeah, I agree. Build up left tackle. Some people even got like grabbing another defensive edge. I don't see that happening anymore. Not with what they've done. Real quick, and we'll talk about your Raiders. Just an update on everything the Bears have done. So they got Joe Thuney, the guard. That was a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. Drew Dowling, the center. Falcons. Dio. Make sure I say his name right. Dio. Let me look at my brief. Odangbo. Dio Odangbo. Out of the Colts 3-year deal. Some people think this was an overpay. Could be right. $48 million contract, $32 million of it guaranteed. 3-year deal. Defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. You also got, I think those are all the big ones that are worth bringing up here. And then as far as your Raiders go, let's just start with the quarterback, Geno Smith. How you like it?
Love it. Love it. He brings stability. He's a veteran quarterback. You have a bunch of young guys in the receiver room. You have a bunch of young skill guys from Bowers out to the receiver room. You got a veteran quarterback that, he doesn't really turn the ball over terribly. He's smart with the ball. He got paid in Seattle for a reason. He can command the offense. He can slow things down. He's been around. He's fought through, being written off, and he's definitely, came back and reasserted himself. He's back with his head coach. That gives him a lot more confidence. So he's comfortable with him in the building. I think that gives a stability that we probably haven't seen since they let Derek Carr go.
I like what the Raiders are cooking.
Yeah,
I really do. I'm excited to watch this because I've always been really high on Pete Carroll. Maybe I just like the Seahawks too much, but I was always really high on Pete Carroll. I was always very high on Geno Smith. I always thought like this guy overperforms more often than not. And I'm like, are people going to just stop calling he's really overperforming, or just say, no, he's a good quarterback? This guy does this on a yearly basis if you give him the right tool. So I love it for the Raiders. Again, I don't know if it's going to win you a Super Bowl, but sometimes just winning at a franchise.
It helps you within your division. Your division is a strong division of head coaches and quarterbacks. With Pete Carroll, you knocked that out of the park. With Geno here, you have some pieces. Hopefully we can add a few more stuff that keeps you in the fight. Pete is going to, solidify the defense even more. He's going to plug and play with you're going to have grit. You're going to have physicality on the defensive side. And then, on the offensive side, we'll see what we're doing, at running back or whatnot. But it's going to be a slugfest, and that's what you need in that division with who you're going against. You got Harbaugh, his defense, you got Herbert, and now they have Najee. That's going to be a headache. You have Mahomes. I mean, that alone, it says itself. And then you got Peyton and Bo Nix doing what they're doing. It's going to be a stacked conference.
Yeah, and you just need to do everything in your power not to just completely fall out, because the culture there has been broken for a long time. In my opinion, this is a great step to just building some real tangibles, make that a real organization. It's just been bad. It's been about as bad as my Chicago Bears that we're talking about as well.
No, your Bears has been worse. Don't do that.
I tried to sneak you in that
Don't do that.
We'll be on the boat behind you. Max Crosby, though, signed a 3-year extension, $165 million, though, 91 of it guaranteed. Where are you at with that? I love Max Crosby. A lot of money.
Well deserved. I mean, how many teams have we seen mess things up with their superstars? Cincinnati, the Cowboys on multiple occasions, the Giants. They got it out the way early and often. You don't have to necessarily worry about it. It's the second, big contract. They just gave him a contract, maybe 2 years ago or something like that. So, ahead of the curve, he's satisfied. and you can continue to build off of that and don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, and with you guys' cap space too, it's not like you're really sweating about it too much.
No.
It's kind of the same thing with the Bears. I see a lot of people with the Chicago Bears talking about the cap space. You look at all those deals, a lot of them are 3-year deals, just in time before that Caleb Williams contract becomes time to pay up money. So like it's not just totally unstructured nonsense. I think the Raiders actually have a decent amount of cap space, so I'm not. I like it's a crazy.
I think we have one of the highest cap spaces in free agency this year.
Okay, yeah, that totally matches up. So I'm definitely not freaking out about that one. It's also it's not like an incredibly long, daunting contract. Chances of that becoming dead money are 0. So you got anything else to add on the Raiders? Because I do want to sneak the Giants in here.
No, we can talk about the Giants.
All right. If you had to assess what they're doing so far in the offseason, what grade would you
Failing.
give? Was it the Darius Slayton signing where they gave him $36 million in a 3-year deal? But at the same time, that seemed like too much for Saquon Barkley.
I know people are like, and maybe they might have learned from their mistakes.
I hope so.
And they're being open about stuff. But for Slayton, he's been a solid pickup and consistent for them. You're paying a quarterback that's still no longer there. Your running back, you've seen him twice a year, so I mean that's just heartbreak. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know if they're gonna move up from their spot to get a quarterback. Because I mean it's still very well likely, both quarterbacks might be gone by the time things come down to you. Nobody says that Tennessee is out of the quarterback market. So
yeah,
they've signed some pieces on the defensive side, but. I mean, the big question, we know that they need to address the quarterback situation. But whichever quarterback you do get, we've seen it time and time again, putting young quarterbacks in early on, doesn't necessarily help, especially with who's in their conference. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, it's just going to be like New York football, put them both those teams together. There's a lot of problems with both of those organizations. Keep it on quarterbacks, though. We talked about the Raiders. The Seahawks, they got their guy, though, after moving on from Geno Smith. Sam Darnold, everyone just wanted to, crap on this right away. I don't know why. I don't think Sam Darnold, for that money.
It's Baker Mayfield. It's Baker Mayfield deal. And honestly, he played a lot better than Baker Mayfield did when he got his contract. The only thing that was different was I think Baker probably had a better playoff game than him. Other than that, he had more wins in the regular season. He won or they finished second in the division. Baker may have won his division, but ain't nobody's in his division. So his numbers were crazy, well deserving, and you knew pretty much if Minnesota wasn't going to franchise tag him, you knew somebody was going to offer that type of money. So people gonna say, well, he's unproven in X, Y. Him and Baker Mayfield's career, with 2 other organizations are pretty identical. When Baker was with Carolina, they didn't necessarily win, I don't think, over 9 games. So I think it's well deserving for what he did, and that's who they wanted. He's comfortable with who the offensive coordinator. He understands and knows the system. He's going to be back there. He was with that OC and with the 49ers. So both sides got to win. Both sides are happy, and they're moving forward.
Yeah, it's $100 million 3-year deal. Yeah, $100 million, but only $55 million is guaranteed. I think it's $33.7 million in that first year. I don't think it's. If I'm a Seahawk fan, I think the reason why they hate it is just because it's a lot of change. It's a lot of change up there.
In 3 days in a row.
Yeah, so I think
it's been a tough week for the Seahawks fans.
Yeah, I've been seeing lots of even just pictures around their arena. It's like you just got a bunch of sad Seahawks fans just staring at the Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and just who other key wide receiver as well. Why am I blanking on it?
And Jigba.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like who do you put up there though? The faces of the franchise, are gone. You don't have Sam in uniform in any action picture, so you can't do that. I'm not sure if Leonard Williams is still on the team, so your bucket is small to kind of get things going for excitement.
Yeah, it's just a year of change for them for certainly. So out there in Seattle, but I do think Darnold's a good quarterback. I think they'll have fun with him.
You went 10-7 and you dissembled the team that went 10-7. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the direction they're choosing. So things are different up in Seattle. On the other side, we'll throw it the break here. Just give me the biggest winner and the biggest loser so far in the NFL free agency. As you said, it's not done yet. So we'll talk about that next. Dump Punt Hour. Good morning, Pierson-El, Harrison Arns. Talk to you on the other side.
St. Patrick's Day is on a Monday this year, but St. Patrick's Eve is on a Sunday, and you won't want to miss that party at Matson's Bowling and Billiards. Families are welcome to join in on the Olympics and win great prizes, or just come down to have one of Sarah's favorites, corned beef and cabbage, or one of Brady's favorites, bangers and mash. Plus, great music all afternoon from Crosby, Stills, Bangers and Mash. That's St. Patrick's Eve on Sunday, March 16th at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
There's no place like McKinney's Irish Pub for St. Patrick's Day, so mark your calendars to join in on the fun for their 11th annual Street Festival. The party starts on Saturday, March 15th, with tons of giveaways, a kilt contest, great Irish food, and green beer, and continues on Monday the 17th for actual St. Patrick's Day. Doors open for the bar at 11 a.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. on Monday, and the street party starts at 2 p.m. both days. Don't miss out on great music and great fun with no cover charge for St. Patrick's Day weekend at McKinney's 8th and P in the Haymarket.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Get ready for spring by joining an evidence-based program to improve your health and well-being. These programs use proven strategies to help you make lasting changes, whether it's boosting nutrition, increasing activity, managing stress, or enhancing wellness. Invest in yourself today and feel your best this spring and beyond. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, Don't Punt Hour. We're going to talk winners, losers, free agency, NFL free agency, that is, after getting much of the news. Has said not over yet, but we can at least figure out who's doing well and who's maybe dragging their feet a little bit. Give me your first, we'll do winners first.
Patriots.
That's a good answer. Mike Vrabel's cooking, but you can tell me why.
I mean, from coaches and a player standpoint, they're winning. I think Vrabel was probably the hottest coach sought after on the defensive side. He understands, he's going back home. So, there's nothing you have to necessarily instill. Like it's going to be that he's a player's coach. Secondly, the players that they've acquired in free agency.
There's 9. They spent $300 million. There's 9 of them.
You could see Travis Hunter gone at 4. You solidified the D-line, so that takes out the guy from Michigan that they might be going after. You got your corners in there, because if I'm not mistaken, they got Davis.
Yeah, they got Carlton Davis.
Yeah,
3-year contract, $60 million.
Yeah, so him and Gonzalez, that's going to be tough. I mean, do you want the young guy to follow the number one receivers, or do you want Charlton to follow around number one receivers? Or if you do draft Hunter, who's going into the nickel? You can move Gonzalez into the nickel and put Travis on the island. Now you got 3 number one corners as your 3 corners. That could be crazy. That's something interesting. So I think they're clearly number one, and it's not close.
Yeah, and they did some just really basic, simple stuff too that teams always forget. Like, hey, let's make sure that we got a good quarterback system. Like, even if it's not top dog, they also snuck in Joshua Dobbs. So
I mean, you have that. You brought McDaniels back. McDaniels thrives as an offensive coordinator. Him and May. That's going to be a dangerous combination.
Yeah, and like I said, it's 9 players. We don't have the time to go through them all, but it all pretty good deals. I don't think they were overpaying. They're shoring up that team. So if they do well with their draft pick, I don't know who they're going to get, but all of a sudden the Patriots look like a legitimate team that you would actually want to go play for. You look at especially that defense, kind of what they got going on over there. You're like, okay, might be able to learn. And so Mike Vrabel's the head coach, who I still think just probably garners a ton of respect from guys. I'll give you my loser. Or no, we're doing winners first. We'll make it easy. Caleb Williams. I don't have to say much about it. I mean, the offensive line, it's pretty much on him now.
That wasn't so obvious coming from the Bears fan. You've been talking about them all day. Pick somebody else, man. Stop trying to talk about your team. Pick somebody else.
Okay. We'll go with
they were a good winner though.
They were a good winner. Honestly, the other winner though was the Raiders, and we spent a lot of time talking about them. We'll go with,
I think, the Rams.
I was thinking about the Rams as well, because they got
a young defense. You got Devontae Adams, and people can say, "Oh, well, he's no Cooper." Devontae Adams, and it's not close. He's still a top 5 receiver. Then you give him, another generational quarterback who's still playing at a high level. They got a good running back. They got a good tight end, solid defense or whatnot with Sean McVay. They've been a staple. I mean, you could say they're probably the number 1 team in their division right now.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I like the Rams. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that
I would say
Buccaneers, maybe. I mean, I really just like him because of what they gave Levante David some more. They gave him that 1-year deal. Honestly, one of the most underappreciated players in the NFL. Like, his stats are unreal when you actually compare him to some of the greats. Like, that guy is insane. And he's only been 1 Pro Bowl.
Hall of Famer
with 1 Pro Bowl. I think that's just absolutely outrageous. Let's see. They did get deals done with Chris Godwin as well. I already mentioned Levante David. I'd have to look into it, but overall, it hasn't been anything too crazy, and they have a good enough roster already, especially with Baker Mayfield in that division. Like, you just basically can't break what you have and just keep adding on to it. You should be able to take care of business, put yourself in the postseason play. All right, losers.
You want to go? You want to go first?
I mean, Joe Schoen is the easy one. We could throw Devontae Adams in there too. I don't know if it might hurt you. I know he got picked up by the Rams, but
how was that? How was he a biggest? Are we talking teams or players?
Oh, you can be anything you want.
How would Devontae Adams be a loser in that situation?
Well, let's see here.
You got an accurate quarterback. You got an established run game. You got an offensive guru. Like, what part is he losing? And he's wearing 17.
$8 million guaranteed on his base salary.
Yeah, it ain't about the money. He didn't already reset it. He didn't already reset the market.
He's got to hang out with Jimmy G again. That kind of blows.
And he ain't gonna play.
He's the backup. He might play.
He ain't. I mean, Matt gonna be straight.
Okay. Here's a legitimate one. 49ers.
That's who mine was. I was just
because they've lost a ton.
They lost,
you can also throw in the Eagles. Eagles are also a little bit of tailspin right now.
They're not. They're again, Howie's not finished, so I'm not even worried about them at all. Secondly, they have young guys that stepped up that allow that, like, they're not panicking with letting some of those guys leave. So I'm not worried about them. Outside
period, then say that for the Eagles at least.
I would say outside of the 49ers, honestly, I would say the Seahawks. You have your quarterback, but yet the team, we could see, Jackson and Jigba turn into Juju Smith-Schuster. When AB left with the Pittsburgh Steelers, people were talking crazy, Juju's going to be this, Juju's that. They, the Steelers let, AB go, and, we haven't seen anything from Juju, since he's honestly, really left Pittsburgh. He hasn't really been, the same type of player. So we could possibly see that same thing happen with, Jackson and Jigba. I understand he's good. I understand he took a lot of targets, but you had Tyler Lockett, creating a lot of havoc, and you had, DK, occupying people's, number one corner. Now all the attention is going to be on him. I don't know what we're going to see. Your running back has been hurt majority of years. Your defense, is kind of depleted a little bit. It hasn't necessarily been as the same, and you lost your quarterback that got you 10 wins. So I like Sam. Hopefully he continues to play the same. But if he doesn't or whatnot, or if you don't protect him the same, or if he doesn't have the same weapons that that Geno had, people could be talking about crazy. People could be talking crazy about Sam in a year.
Last one in here for as far as losers go. Would you consider the Cincinnati Bengals just for the fact that they might regret dragging their feet on those 3 extensions?
Yes.
They're about to hit a brick wall, it feels like.
I don't want to pick the easy ones, though. That's easy. Like, the average, I don't want to say the average. Anybody could, if you pay attention to sports, theirs actually is bad.
There's ones, though, like what I pointed out is like a lot of it just feels like somewhat preventable. Like, you're going to have some contract issues, but they just made things worse.
Yeah.
And there should be a rule. You can't just keep franchise tagging guys forever.
They don't like to pay people regardless. Outside of the Bears are starting to pay people now. Outside of the Bears and the Bengals, I think, were the top 2 franchises that do not pay players.
Well, Bengals, they don't even pay their practice facilities.
They don't have an indoor facility at all. Rain, sleet, snow, they outside. That's terrible. How are you, NFL, and you don't even have an indoor facility to at least, accommodate, your players or whatnot. And it's just not this year that's been terrible for them. I think the last 2 or 3 off seasons has been bad. The year after they Super Bowl, they kind of been in a Super Bowl slump ever since, honestly.
Yeah, and they only signed the 2 players so far. Obviously, they retained a bunch of players, but Slayton and for 2 years.
You can throw. Honestly, I think you can throw the Browns in there too. You paid all that money to Garrett, and I don't think you'll have very much room to kind of to patch any other holes. And so you could toss them. You can toss them in there as well.
Well said. We'll have to dive into more of it. If we got time tomorrow, we'll see. State Hoops kicking back up. Boys side, Jay Foreman, Nick Sander will be out there at the vault. But we got more shows tonight. Striking up a conversation up next. Good morning. Appreciate the time as always.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse.